Well, hello, everybody. I'm Rick Dancer. Welcome to Get Real with Rick Dancer. Tonight, we're going to talk about a topic that is near and dear to many Oregonians' hearts. It's your money. Your governor and the Democrats passed this transportation fiasco, and you are the ones who are going to pay for her pet projects and their pet projects. There is a way to stop it, but unfortunately, and it's going to happen, but unfortunately, the governor's dragging her feet. So you need to be writing her, calling her office, letting her know that she needs to sign the bill that was an emergency, such a dang emergency that she had to get this thing passed, that she had to bring legislators back for the Labor Day weekend while she took a holiday. She didn't show up, but she made everybody else, which you guys paid for all that overtime as well. So she has no problem taxing you guys and charging you for it. And now she doesn't want you to be able to gather enough signatures to get this on a ballot. So she's dragging her feet so that it gives you less time. And we're going to talk to a couple of folks about that real quick here. Ed Deal, representative from Oregon, and Jason Williams with OregonWatchdog.com. Boy, that emergency sure didn't turn out to be a big emergency, didn't it? Unbelievable.
No.
So you guys, either one of you take the lead. What are we doing here? We're trying to get the tax portion of this mess taken away. Repealed.
That's right. We're so Senator Bruce Starr is in this with us. And, this is really the last option left for the minority. When you have a governor that is ramming a tax bill down our throats that the vast majority of Oregonians don't want, they've been pretty vocal about it. And you ram it through the House and you ram it through the Senate, what's left? This is what's left. We can bring it directly to the people as a referendum. Our Constitution allows that. And let the people decide with an up or down vote whether they want these gas taxes, a doubling of the payroll transit tax, and a considerable increase in our registration and title fees. So that's what we're working on at notaxoregon.com. And we're hoping, we know we have the support of the voters, but we have a pretty daunting task to get all those signatures in a very short time window.
So, and this would take out all the tax increases that they were putting in this. Is that right? Or most of them?
Yes, it would take, I think it will target every tax increase. It targets every tax increase and most of the fees.
So go ahead. Didn't you guys try to get the legislature, the Democrats and the governor to put this to a vote of the people? You guys proposed that as Republicans
Yes, Senator Starr brought that as a bill, and it wasn't given an opportunity.
Because when 95% of the incoming email to the Capitol were people saying we don't want this, so they knew there was no way they could not. If they wanted this to fail, all they have to do is put it before the voters. But now, so Jason, what is the governor doing now? Dragging her feet. If this was such an emergency, you'd think she would have signed it right away. But there's this little loophole in the law that I think a lot of Oregonians don't really know about. Can you explain that to people?
Yes. Once the tax bill is signed by both chambers, we have 90 days to do a referendum petition to bring it to voters to say yes. But the governor, we have to wait for the governor's signature, so she can wait up to 30 days and take much time out of our 90-day clock, nearly half of it. So this represents the whole, let's just say her whole perspective on this is to shut out voters. When they first brought this tax up, there was no bill number for weeks. And then finally, when there was a bill number, the lawmakers themselves were not given how much this bill would raise until like the day before the hearing to do it. Even the Oregonian complained against it. And then finally, they just ramrodded it through in the final few days, mere days of session. So everything about this is about telling voters, no, you don't get to be involved. You don't need to have a choice. And the fact that the governor is not quickly to sign this is an example of that. But I do want to say, even though we have a short clock, we have been down this road before. Way back in 2003, the politicians passed $1 billion tax increase. I was a petitioner, and we brought that before voters, and the voters knocked it down. Guess what? The politicians found the money, and they didn't need to raise any taxes. So we've done this before. We've struck down $1 billion tax increase before, and we're going to do it again.
Jason, as Oregon watchdog, why does this concern you so much, the way this is being handled by the Democrats and the governor?
It concerns me because it's going to hurt a lot of people that I know. A few weeks ago, it was a frontline news that 40% of Oregonians could not come up with $400 in emergency cash. If they can't come up with $400 in emergency cash, how are they going to afford this $300 tax and DM fee increases that's going to hit the family? You know, for me, I have a second car, and it's an old car. It's only worth about $3,000. Instead of selling it, I decided to make this a car I would loan out to people for free, because so many of our friends, they get into a car accident, they have someone in town, or they have a child who can't get to work. And I've been loaning this car out all year long because there are so many people that cannot afford when they get hit with a car problem. And at one point in time, I loaned out my main car and my second car, and I had to get around because so many of my friends, and so I see the faces of the people who will be hit with this $400 and more tax increase because they are already hurting and they can't afford it.
Joe Heathen on here comments and says there's already a petition online. There's not a petition online yet, is there?
I think he's responding. There was a question about the governor being recalled.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. There is one for the governor being recalled, but this is I want people to understand this is a totally separate issue. That's important, but this is your money.
Yeah.
is so Ed, like Jason's talking about, these people are hurting in Oregon, and the governor can say, well, it's only like $400 for these, but this could be done without raising taxes. This is for pet projects. This is not something that Oregon, like, oh, she's trying to save our schools, which is a joke. But anyway, this is not that you could do this.
We can do this. So when you in the polls show what's important to Oregonians, when it comes to transportation, this is not one of the top of mind issues for Oregonians. It's jobs, it's our education system, it's the homeless problem, it is excessive taxes, it's housing. There's a laundry list of things that are more important. But when it does come to transportation, what's the one important thing? They want the roads plowed in the winter.
Yeah.
They want potholes filled. They want the roads maintained. But back in, I think it was it 2017 when we did the last transportation package, there were tax increases that were baked in, but the way it was written, only a tiny fraction of those increases can go toward maintenance. The majority is assigned to capital projects, construction projects. And so what the legislature did is we tied ODOT's hands for how they can use money. And in addition to that, we've carved out special pet projects for green energy, electric car chargers, these climate justice programs, things like that. So the ODOT is left with very little flexibility on how they can use this money. So we see this as a problem with priorities, not revenue, a problem with priorities.
Exactly.
And with legislation, we can change the guardrails around this money so ODOT has more flexibility and can direct the money toward what people really want, which is maintained roads. So that's fully within our capability, but the governor and the Democrats really refused to take a look at that. They would rather spend $26 million on DEI than snowplows and paving roads. That's the extreme that we have here.
Okay,
I want to add to that when Ed talks about priorities, because it's not only the DEI, but let's say the Oregon politicians, they already voted to send $10 million to build a mega restaurant in Portland. They've already spent millions of our tax dollars subsidizing private hotels in Portland. And they say they don't have the money. Look, even the transportation money. They spent $250 million just studying the CRC bridge a few years ago. And Portland just built a $130 million bridge. It's right across the river between two major traffic points. And they say only buses can travel over this bridge. $130 million bridge where cars can't drive on it. So when they say they can't protect you, and that's when the governor's spokesperson came in at the last hearing to push this bill, she led with, we can't keep you safe. We can't plow your roads. We can't repair dangerous roads unless we get an additional increase to the increase that they have. And the gas tax, it's going to go up. This thing makes it go up 15%. It went up 5% just last year alone. It's not looking good, folks.
So what is like right now with the gas prices? And I mean, I'm headed back to Montana on Monday, and I'm so glad because I can afford to drive again. It's like we're like $1 a gallon cheaper than you guys.
Yeah.
So you're already at like say $4.29. What would it be up with 15%? What would that be? What would it raise it to?
Well, the total gas price?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the states seeing over, I think, $4 a gallon. I mean, I'm $3.90 a gallon. It'll in my town. I just did a video yesterday. It'll go up to close to $4 with this tax increase.
So in Portland, it's going to be even higher because it's higher up here.
Yeah, I've got the numbers right here in front of me. Oregon is the 4th highest gas price in the nation at $4.14. Some places in Portland, it's at $4.80. So adding on the 6 cents, it's getting close to $5. By comparison, we've got Colorado, $2.95, and Oklahoma, $2.58, New Mexico, $2.89. There's a dozen states where they're still in the $2 under $3 range. So yes, Oregon will get closer to $5 gas, while the rest of the country is looking at $2 to $3 gas.
And it's not necessary. It's not an emergency.
No,
it's not. Nobody's going to die over this.
That's the thing. It's not necessary. If you look at the amount of money that we have been allocating toward these massive construction, massive projects like the I-5 bridge, they're saying that's a $10 billion bridge. We could build that bridge, build a beautiful bridge for $3 billion. But we're reserving a lot of state funds toward that. The same with the Rose Quarter project, which should be maybe $400 or $500 million, $600 million. I think it's over $2 billion or close to $2 billion. So, and not all that state money, some's feds, but frankly, we're not going to get that federal money.
No,
we were not going to get that federal money. So there's money sitting there that we can allocate toward maintenance. This is a false choice that the governor set up. She's making a threat. She's threatening us. She's actually telling people, don't sign this.
I heard this. You can't do that.
Because
ethically, that's such bullshit.
It is. And it's flying right in the face. They say they're for democracy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, crap. I mean,
you say you're for democracy and you take it away every single day. And then you get up there, she gets up there, and then like even with the thing with the destruction in Portland, puts on a false facade and tells everybody everything's fine when, these people are down there. We see the videos online. Okay, the Republicans took a picture. Everybody's done that. They found a picture. They say, oh, there's the riots, and they throw it up and they get themselves, they're, as my mother used to say, they're tit in the ringer. But the bottom line is that there is stuff going on down there that should not be going on. And we see people, showing it all the time, and she's just negating it as much as she can. What bugs me about this transportation thing too is that aren't rural Oregonians paying for mass transit?
Oh yeah.
What the hell's that? Like, when is the guy from French Glen going to use the TriMet?
Every Oregonian is going to see their payroll.
I've never ridden a freaking TriMet, and I lived in the and their ridership is down to nothing. And so now you're charging the entire state to ride a bus line that's basically for homeless people.
I don't think this tax increase will even make them whole. They have some real systemic issues with that program. So,
and I
So
think the
somebody asked,
irony of the governor saying, "Hey, don't vote for it. We don't have the money," and then she's working on this $100,000 trip to Korea, and the Portland politicians went on it was a $17,000 trip to Vienna to learn about carless cities. We want to see how we can take out cars out of our city. I mean, they didn't just go; they brought their whole staff with them. So the politicians in charge are telling us, "Hey, we don't have the money," as they're flying all over Europe and Asia, telling us to pay more and don't hurt the environment as they're on a jet.
if you look at the state revenue over the last several years, tax revenue, it is exploded. The population hasn't increased that with it. We're bringing in record levels of revenue. To say we don't have enough money for this is a joke.
That's a great point, because we're asking for more money for ODOT when there's less people. Our population has declined. So more money for roads with less people on them. Where education got a big tax increase, more money, but they serve less students across the board. Where they're asking for more money, but there's less people to serve. It doesn't make sense.
I was listening to an interview on a radio show in Oregon today, and it was with the governor of Mississippi. And Mississippi has changed their education system, not any more money, but they've gone in, and fourth graders, if you don't pass the third grade, you get held back. And they're teaching them old-fashioned education. And their numbers in reading and math have gone from 48, 49 to like 10, like 4. And here's Oregon at number 48, depending on which one you look at.
Mississippi, it should be a statewide embarrassment that the Mississippi schools are outperforming Oregon schools
by huge margins. I mean, it's not just like, they're a couple numbers apart. It's like Oregon's at the bottom of the heap, and here they are. Where does all that money go? I mean, the Oregon Education Association is a very powerful organization, basically runs the governor's mansion. But anyway, I'm sorry, did that come out of my mouth?
I serve in the legislature, Rick, and the public sector unions run.
They are the government.
It was unbelievable this session. And even people on both sides of the aisle were like, wow. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
The most outrageous thing that the education unions proposed recently was they wanted to move to a 4-day work week for education. And they were trying to do that in Portland. And it's so absurd because we already have one of the shortest school years in America. On top of that, we also have one of the greatest absentee attendance rates. So even though the kids don't even have to be in the classroom as much, they are in the classroom less. And the union's answer was to come out and say, could we have a 4-day work week? And it's just like they're sliding towards the worst answers possible.
Well, the other number they were giving out is there was 35,000 teachers or something like that. And only like 15,000 or something were involved in the union. They have very little teachers union control there. So it was really easy to get these changes passed. Well, they said they had to fight like hell, but there's more teachers that aren't in the union than were in the union. And I know we're digressing, but it's all part of the same problem is, Oregon's they don't have a money problem. They have a management issue.
We have a management and accountability issue big time.
So people are on here going, so what do we do? What do we do? So you guys, the help that you need is people can't fart around with this. I mean, they really have to jump on this.
No, let's assume that the governor really tries to deny the will of the voters here and drags this thing out. She can drag it out 30 business days. She could potentially drag it out and sign it on November 12th. We're being told we got a 3 workday turnaround with the Secretary of State. We might not be able to gather signatures until November 18th. That gives us 43 days to get 78,000 signatures plus a buffer. So our target is 100,000 signatures. So what we're doing and where we need people's help is we are building a grassroots machine to gather these signatures. 500 signature gatherers, 200 signatures each. We can do this. We can do this, but we need people to sign up, to volunteer, to be willing to sit out, by a grocery store, by a gas station, outside of an event, maybe a holiday bazaar. This will be the easiest signature gathering effort ever, as far as the percentage of people that are going to sign on. It just means we have to have the will and the volunteers. And if you go to notaxoregon.com, and I don't know if you can share that link.
Yeah, it's at the top of the thing, you guys, on the comments.
Okay. Or notaxor.com. And you can express your interest in signing the petition, but also check that volunteer box. There's a checkbox to let us know that you're interested in volunteering. And we're having an organizational call on Monday, October 13th in the evening. And we will keep you posted about the details for that. It'll be a virtual call. But we've got a team and a system set up with experienced folks, guys like Jason, who've done this thing before. And we're committed. I take this as a challenge. I know Jason does too. This is a challenge. And if you're going to try and ram this down our throats, well, we're going to show you that we're not going to let that happen.
And I want to remind people too, because there's 3 different proposals out there that are gathering signatures right now. And they're all different, and they're for different things, but you can use that momentum to get all 3 done. Well, but don't think for a second, because what I'm afraid people are going to do is go, well, if we just recall the governor. Well, no. If you just sign I'm all for sign the recall for the governor. But if you just sign that, or you say, no, it's never going to change. And this is a very Republican thing. And you guys have to stop doing this. It's never going to change until we get rid of elections, or the way the elections are done. We agree the elections are not done right, but you have to do all 3 things and at least participate in those 3. But if you don't do this one, you can look for $400, $500 added to your bills every year. And that's when you need to take care of all 3 of these things.
Yeah. I was talking about the cost of it, because yes, it is going to sock you with $400 more. And that's going to hurt a lot of people. I see their faces, the people who can't afford it right now. But I want to remind you, this is about us having a right to vote. And if they take away our voice, where are we going to be? If they simply can ram through $1 billion tax increase with as little public input as possible, and then try to shut us down when we try to do a petition effort, what does that say for all the other taxes and things that you care about? But what will it say if we win, like we have won before at the ballot? I'm telling you, we've done it before. We'll do it again. If we win, then suddenly the voters now are back in charge, and they will now make us bring us to the table for more tax debate issues.
You got it. This will send a message that you are not going to pass a bill that goes against the will of the voters in this state. And we do it a lot in that building. Some legislators are hoping that the voters aren't paying attention. They also hold back popular bills from being heard, hoping the voters aren't paying attention. And it's got to change. And that's one of the reasons I'm in that building. We're going to change this. We're going to show them that we mean business.
Amen.
So Moan Williams just writes on here, no relation to Scott or Jason, I don't think. They just passed a Eugene payroll tax without a vote. It will keep happening. Okay, but here's the thing. You guys, I'm going to give you a little spiritual lesson here. Life says in the Bible, life and death is in the power of the tongue. That means what you speak into existence will happen. God is a God of creation. So he gives us a mouth to create things. So we can create negative stuff. We can create problems from the past. We can recreate all that bullshit, or we can start saying, no, damn it. We're taking it back. We're not, I don't care what Eugene did with the payroll tax. Yes, I'm sorry that happened. You guys need to fight that one. But this is also a fight. If Jason and Ed are saying to me is if we can prove that they can't get away with this shit, this is what it is. They don't get away with this. And right now they have all the power and they think they can get away with it. It's up to Oregonians to stand up and say, no more, you don't get to do this. I said I didn't want it. You took away my opportunity to do that. You made it harder for me to sign the petition. I signed it and you got your ass kicked. That's what you need to do.
Absolutely.
Then you start turning that ship in Oregon. If you keep bitching about the elections and keep bitching about the elections process and other little things, you're never going to get anything done. You got to start somewhere, and it's time Republicans stop whining and stop bringing up the past and all the problems. That's old news. Now it's a new Oregon. You want to play new Oregon, or you want to keep dribbling in your sorrow? You're never going to get anywhere if you just keep farting around with this shit.
This is our chance to show that we have our shit together.
Yeah.
And
I will say there are signs of change. We monitor on every election cycle. There's usually about 50 local measures, tax measures on the ballot in a given year. And most of those pass. But we started noticing in the last few elections, a large number of them, more than what we've ever seen before, have been defeated, including education property tax measures. Like in Bend, they just threw that out there and they're saying, hey, it's for the kids. And it was trounced. There is something that happens with a convergence of events, which we're seeing now, where people, they feel the pain of their taxes. They feel this Charlie Kirk effort where it's like, I feel like I can speak again. We're coming, this is a very unique moment. Do not underestimate what happens when the taxpayers get angry at something. And I've been there, because not only did I kill that $1 billion tax increase way back when with Measure 30, there was another one, Measure 28. That one also, we were completely outspent. That thing failed as well. There is something, and you can feel it in the air, and I hope that people would not look at what has been, but now look at where we are going and just feel it. It's like, please participate. And I'll say, I don't know how this thing is going to go, but those lawmakers put their vote on one of the worst tax bills we've ever seen. That alone is going to have ramifications for the entire year next year.
So there's people on here, Jason, I don't know if you saw that, but 1776 says he reads Watchdog every day. He's reading you like you're the Bible,
Yes, well, the site has been around for 25 years.
Great.
It's a news ticker. Anything that's said on the gas tax, anything dumb that Kotek does, it will be up there, because we cover 20 different news sources on that Oregon Watchdog.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I have some fans here. We've been around for 25 years.
So for all you people that ask me all the time, where can I get information? Where can I get information? Go to OregonWatchdog.com, and there's a place where you're going to find this. People are starving for real information. You know what I mean, Jason? It's like I see it every day, and what I hate seeing in the more conservative movement is the tendency to just get stuck in what was, and rather than looking. I think that's one thing. We should be more progressive about our attitude, not about our politics. But if we were more progressive as people to look at what can be, I believe that with all my heart, that it's what are we creating? Right. Wonderful, great Oregon, an Oregon that's going to be different, an Oregon that represents. I met with Betsy Johnson yesterday, former Democrat, now an independent. She ran for governor. We had the nicest conversation. People were all starting to come to a place where it's like, you're not a Democrat and a Republican anymore. You're either for Oregon or you're against Oregon.
Yeah. Let me give you an example about how things can change. North Carolina was a 50-year liberal experiment, all blue state for 50 years. Then dramatically, it all changed and went double majority red. It went conservative by supermajority. A state can change very quickly. And we need to keep that hope and realize that these things go in cycles. And we're in a very unusual cycle right now. So anything can change for Oregon instantly. Don't get, as you said, conservatives, they get very doomsday. And it's hard for me to go to a lot of conservative rallies because they're saying, oh, the world's going to end in spectacular fashion if we don't get this vote. And it's like, no, America's going to last. Winston Churchill said it best about America. He says, America exhausts all other options before finally doing what's right. And so we have a history of doing it wrong before we do it right. And when we do it right, we do it better than anyone else.
And Jason, Ed and I have talked about this before. I had a miner tell me that the problem with Oregonians and the wonderful thing about Oregonians, we're rugged individualists, and rugged individualists don't play fair together. And they sure as hell don't want anybody telling them what to do. So that's where we kind of bang heads, but that's what makes us who we are. And but it doesn't mean we can't look beyond the past and kind of see what's in the future.
I got to share just one other thing. It's because this means a lot to
Ed,
me.
I know you got to go, so I will. You have just a sec, Jason. Ed, do you have a 6?
We're good for a few more minutes here. And
you let me know.
Jason's coming on at 6 too. We're going on the Verge.
Okay. So I just had a Verge. Somebody had commented. Tracy, she's a big Verge person, and she was just saying, okay. So
somebody else mentioned how they get involved. They missed the first part, but go to notaxor.com. Notaxor.com. You can let us know you're interested in signing the petition when we get it out.
So there's no petition at this time. That's what they.
No, we're waiting on the governor.
Waiting for Tina.
I was talking to a reporter the other day on that, and we were talking about how the governor can delay signing this into law to eat up days for us. And I was saying how undemocratic that is.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And he said, well, if the shoe was on the other foot, you'd be doing the same thing. And I said, no, I would not, because I wouldn't be pushing and signing a bill that the majority of Oregonians were opposed to.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't think people understand is if you knew that kind of was out there. Okay, Jason, you had a thought, and I want you to
an
get that
optimism story. Yes. I want to let you know that the Taxpayer Association has been going down to the Portland riots since the very beginning, and even the Seattle occupation zone. So 5 years, our reporters have been down there. And we started seeing something in the past few weeks that we've never seen in all of those riots. Counter protesters from all different walks of life coming, and sometimes in large numbers, cheering ICE, bringing out the flag, bringing out Bibles and having conversations with people. I've never seen that happen before. Wow. But people wearing Charlie Kirk t-shirts, and it's derailed the whole protest movement because they don't know how to handle it when you've got dozens of people there cheering the people you're trying to destroy the building of. And there was a Charlie Kirk rally just this last weekend. There are more people at that Charlie Kirk rally at the state capitol, which Ed brilliantly spoke there. There are more people at that rally than there are been at these protests, which have been gaining national news. So I'm telling you, even at the center of Portland, at the hotbed of the protest and the rioting, it's changing, and people are coming out of the woodwork and doing things I've never seen them done before.
What I've enjoyed is watching all these independent journalists who are down there. And you've got the regular media saying, oh, it's not, there's no one here now, and there's no one like this. And then all my, liberal antagonizers come on and say, where are your pictures? I haven't seen any of your pictures. And it's like, you know what? There are people that are called to be down there doing this. The problem is we never had that in the past. So you had to trust KGW, KEZI, whatever TV station brand X it is. Now we've got kids, 22-year-old kids down there showing us what's really happening. And it's like they're losing their power. And it's really ugly when you see people that have had power for decades all of a sudden lose it. It's like screaming little demons out there.
There is a lot of new people coming into the process. And this is why this gas tax thing is so important, because if someone takes it and walks their neighborhood, mean, they're going to get 90% people say yes, because they would at least like to have a vote on that. So as we're talking about these huge things that are happening in Oregon and America, this gas tax referral petition is an open door to talk to your neighbors and stand on a street corner and win people over to what's happening in Oregon one by one.
Couldn't that'd be so, Ed, that'd be so powerful to watch. To like, okay, so Oregonians 94% sent in their testimony that said they didn't want this, and the polls show it and all this, and then Tina keeps dragging her feet, and the media's singing her tunes, and then all of a sudden people just they actually do it, like actually slap this in the face of the Democrats, and they will be in so much trouble because they're being called out. I mean,
I know, and we are going to do this, and it's going to be grassroots driven and led, and we're going to show them that we've had enough.
Well, gentlemen,
this is the first step toward taking back our state.
So it's bigger. This is really bigger than the gas tax.
Yes.
To me, it is. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You can feel it. You can feel it.
Yeah. It gives me kind of goosebumps. I told Ed the other day, I think it was you. Maybe I've been talking to so many people in Oregon. I hope that you guys take over the state again, that common sense, real people take it over, so that I have to be pissed at myself for leaving the state. That would be my dream. I would love to see Oregon thrive to the point that I go, gosh, I shouldn't have left. That would be the most amazing thing, because I love this state. I just hate what has happened to it. Yeah. And you guys, thank you. Yeah. Jason, thank you for stirring the ship for so many years and, doing what you do and keeping us informed. And Ed, my real deal, Ed, doing his thing and working to get this out there. And you guys go get on Virgil and push those people. And we'll
I did want to say, I talked to Bill Minix with Oregon for the People the other day, and he's got his recall effort going. He said almost everybody that's stopping by there is asking, where do I sign the petition for the tax?
Oh no, people they're stopping it.
It's coming.
Yeah. But no, so if we could use that momentum to keep this thing going, and then you got Ben's doing his thing on the vote. If everybody they're not against each other, they're all for the same kind of change, and they may not all get done, but if one of them or two of them get done, that would sure be nice to send a message. Really, this is really about, don't you think, it will repeat. I mean, there's real meat that this will do and things it will do. Yeah. But really, this is to send a message. If you're mad and angry and frustrated that the Democrats have been ignoring you for, since Vic Atiyeh left and Larry Campbell was the House Speaker, if they haven't been listening to you for that long, this is a way to tell them, the sheriff, there's a new sheriff in town. Yeah.
We're going to do it with the folks here help. NoTaxOR.com. Sign up. Let us know you're going to volunteer. We're looking for 500 volunteers. Okay. Got a really short window to do this, but this will be the easiest signature gathering opportunity ever.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks, Rick.
Tell Virgil I said hi.
See you in a few minutes, Jason.
Okay, see you guys later. All right, you guys. So there you have it. That's what you need to do. So there is no petition yet. We're waiting for Drag Her Feet, Tina Kotek, to stop dragging her feet. And so once she signs that bill, then you guys need to kick into high gear. So that's what Ed and Jason and people like that are trying to get Bruce Start. They're trying to get you to do is just get your name in there, sign up, 500 volunteers to get involved and do this. Someone said on here, oh, I'm bedridden and I can't do anything like that. No, you can. We have internet now. There's plenty of things you can do. You get on that list, and then as soon as Tina's little fingers go on that thing and she signs it, you guys are going to be out the door and you're going to be planning. They'll have a plan. You'll have everything organized. And do you think it's going to be that hard to gather signatures when you tell your neighbors, hey, would you like to stick it to Tina? Would you like to get your file? Hey, how about a $400 rebate? I got a plan for you. You can save $400. All you got to do is put your signature on this little piece of paper. I don't think you should say that. They'll probably come out you, and then there'll be a big news story. KGW will be there. That's probably not a good idea. Rick Dancer doesn't know what he's talking about, but you get the drift. And you guys, and I think Ed is 100% right. This is a turning point. Oh, I've heard that word before. This is a turning point for Oregon, and you can make it happen. Make the impossible possible. But you guys, seriously, think about what you say. Life and death in your tongue. You create the world you're going to live in with what you say and how you speak. God made it that way. So take advantage of it. Use your tongue wisely. Go speak the truth. And don't let anybody, not even the governor of Oregon, shut you up. You don't want me to have a say? Lady, game on. Share this on your page. Get involved. I love you guys. You're awesome. Good night.